Well, hi everyone, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the sunshine on the Algarve coast here in Portugal. We are at Portimão for Trofeo Pirelli Race 2 in the first event of our Ferrari Challenge season for 2022, our 30th anniversary season. Welcome. Hope you're well. Hope you're looking forward to what should be a superb Trofeo Pirelli race to come. Here is our calendar for 2022. Here we are in Portimão. We'll be heading off to the south of France next in Paul Ricard, then Budapest, Hockenheim, Silverstone, Mugello, and the Finale Mondiale this year to be hosted in Imola. So looking forward to it. That's our circuit location then, right on the sunny side of Portimão. So let's take a look at this Portimão circuit and just how undulating and difficult it is. Sector number 1, then a sequence of 3 right-hand turns before the first left-hander, which is turn number 4. Then a big blast of the throttle through this straight, which then you reach turn 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Very much the twisty section is sector 2, then sector 3. It's all about building the momentum through turns 13, 14 to get the trajectory right for the start-finish straight, which is the longest straight on the track at 969 meters. The wind is fluttering the turbine, as you can see, at just 1 kilometer per hour. 16 degrees is the air temperature, 31 degrees the track temperature. Now this is the car that started the challenge. All those years ago, the Ferrari 348 started this wonderful series, the Ferrari Challenge.
My name is Juan Andújar Pulido. It's the first session in Ferrari Challenge Pirelli. This is my car, and my favorite number is 14. Being in the Ferrari paddock is the honor of my life. I want to fight for top 10 in this Trofeo Pirelli, and I was born with the Ferrari passion. From me, the Cavallino is everything.
Juan did a great job yesterday, finishing in the points, taking P10 at the end of that race. So very creditable start to his Ferrari Challenge racing career here in Portimão. So the cars lined up on the grid, as you can see, 30-minute race to come. Rolling start, as always the case for Ferrari Challenge, and the mix of AM and Trofeo Pirelli drivers ready to do battle. And there is the boss, the head honcho that you can see walking down the grid. He is Andrea Maladisic, in charge of the Ferrari Challenge. Good to see him on the grid. And let's hear from some of the drivers down on the grid. And I think the first one of those is going to be Mr. Christian Brunsborg.
So now the weather is getting as hot as the rivalries on the grid. Yesterday we had very intense battles in Pirelli AM class, and in this class on pole today we have Christian Brunsborg. Christian, with Pulcini and Bart just behind you, how important is it going to be to do a good start?
Yeah, for sure it's going to be very important to get ahead in the first 2-3 corners, because then you have the advantage for the next 2-3 laps, and hopefully it's going to be a good and clean start. So yeah, just hoping for the best.
Thank you very much. Good luck. And now for Trofeo Pirelli in P2, we have our record-breaking young flying thing, Luca Nurmi. Luca was last year the youngest driver ever world champion in Trofeo Pirelli. He's starting from row next to Doriane Pin. How confident do you feel, Luca, that you could challenge Doriane for the victory here, starting from row?
Yeah, I'm quite confident because I know what to improve from qualifying, and yeah, I think I can challenge him in first laps.
Thank you very much. Good luck, guys.
So Christian Brunsborg and Luca Nurmi then. Christian Brunsborg is pole setter in terms of Trofeo Pirelli Am, although he will be starting from P3 on the grid, and Luca Nurmi going from the front row of the grid alongside Doriane Pin for Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx, who put it on pole position and of course dominated the race yesterday, winning by a huge margin. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether Luca Nurmi can outdrag Doriane Pin going into turn number 1. You kind of climb uphill before you reach the right-hander, and there is the number 83 car from Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx, and Doriane Pin then hugely talented driver, driving for Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx, who of course was so successful last year with Michel Gatting at the wheel of the car, taking the Trofeo Pirelli Championship. This is the car of Alessandro Cozzi. Completely different livery for Alessandro Cozzi this year in AC. Beautiful looking car, and big thumbs up from Alessandro Cozzi then, who will be getting going shortly. He's going from P7 on the grid, but that's P5 within his class. And this is the Richard Mills safety car that will be leading the cars away on their rolling lap. And there you can see the rest of the grid from a different angle then. A great bit of camera work there to give us just a different perspective. So you run downhill first of all, then you climb uphill in towards turn number 1, and it is the turn that really counts. It's something of a funnel, and this is Ange Bardet then, who was hugely successful yesterday by taking the win. I have to say he absolutely kept his cool whilst some others were losing theirs. And this is the number 8 car of Nicolo Rossi. Nicolo Rossi with another completely different livery to the car that he drove last year. Nicolo Rossi for Kessel Racing, another fine racing driver. Let's see what he can do from where he is situated on the grid. We are just a few moments away from the rolling start getting underway. Then the cars will be released on their formation lap. Of course, first of all, in around about 30 seconds from now, the safety car will be released as we look at the back end of the number 44 car. Andrew Gilbert, delighted to welcome Andrew Gilbert into the Ferrari Challenge this year for Kessel Racing. So there you can see the grid has been cleared of all extraneous personnel, if there is such an expression, as we look at the number 26 car of John Vortig, who has not had a great weekend, but has still banked a P3. He'll be hoping to do the same today. Right on cue then, as we ride on board the Richard Mills safety car. There you can see downhill we go before climbing slightly uphill. Let's take a look at the grid in full. Doriane Pin going from pole position with the Formula Racing driver Luca Nurmi alongside. Best of the AM drivers Christian Brunsborg and Ange Bardet there on the second row of the grid. It's P5 and P6 for Marco Pulcini and David Gosner. Then we see AC, Alessandro Cozzi and Nicolo Rossi going from P7 and P8. Hanno Laskowski and Arno Dahlmeier, they're P9 and P10. Before it is Han Andujar Pulido going from P11 and Omar Jackson alongside. John Vortig and Andrew Gilbert then bringing up the rear on the 7th row of the grid. As I was mentioning in the pre-race, that it has to be said, John Vortig is struggling with the car this weekend. He was one of the front runners last year. Now, by dint of the fact there's only 3 drivers in Trofeo Pirelli, it does mean that actually he needs to contest the race, even though he's less than satisfied with the way that the car is performing, because of course he's banking valuable points towards the championship charge, and that is his target, that is his aim. He was certainly a front runner in the championship last year, Nico, and you and I have spoken to him. Nico Spalek is alongside me. It's frustrating for John not to be able to extract the maximum out of that car.
Yeah, definitely. definitely, if you're a race driver, obviously you want to compete, and being on the track without being able to compete is probably the toughest you can do, but he sacrificed his time, if you will, for a championship charge, because those points are absolutely indispensable for him to have relevant racing for the rest of the season. So that's why he does it, even though he would like to enjoy it more, being in the thick of the battles.
And John is one of those drivers who started his racing career in single seats. As you know, he is a very, very good driver indeed. He will be back with something of a plan when it comes to our next round in Paul Ricard, which will come up very, very soon. So this camera angle perhaps give you a little bit of an insight into how undulating this Portimão circuit is then as it rolls through the Algarve countryside here. 4.692 kilometers, 14 turns, 6 of them to the left, 8 of them to the right. And as I said earlier on, that the longest straight is indeed the start-finish straight, which is where the cars are heading towards right now, at just under a kilometer long, 969 meters. May I invite you, please, to hold on to your hats, because as the cars approach the final turn and the run uphill towards the start-finish straight, what we'll do right now is throw the lighting gantry to the top of the screen for you, so you, as well as the racing drivers, will see when the lights go from red to green. And that drag race between Doriane Pin and Luca Nurmi will get underway. We are about to go racing with the Ferrari Challenge. Well, I think as we do go racing, I was almost wondering whether we might have another rolling lap, because it looked a bit scruffy as Christian Brunsborg is trying to make moves here. So too Ange Bardet, and just a little tap on the back of the Luca Nurmi car. Doriane Pin has done exactly as she did last time. The start is under investigation. Quelle surprise. David Gosner also trying to make a move up the inside, but Doriane Pin has done exactly as she wanted to do yesterday and did do yesterday, and that is escape under the road, up the road. There you can see confirmation that race control tells us that start is under investigation. It looked a little scrappy, to be honest with you. The cars were not lined up as they should have been as they approached the timing line into this funnel, which is turn number 6, then the Torre VIP turn. It's actually turn number 5 as you go into that hairpin and then climb hard uphill. It is Doriane Pin from Luca Nurmi, Christian Brunsborg from David Gosner. Then it's Ange Bardet, there you can see, being pursued by Marco Pulcini. And then it's Nicola Rossi, Alessandro Cozzi, Hanno Luskovski. And there you can see Ange Bardet ahead of Marco Pulcini. So Ange Bardet was had a great drive yesterday and took victory in terms of Trofeo Pirelli Am. He has now in his target sights David Gosner and Christian Brunsborg, but here comes Marco Pulcini chasing back here, and Nicola Rossi's right in the mix as well. What a great battle that is going on here for the P3 position. It's almost a four-way fight, because Alessandro Cozzi is joining in that as well, as the front 4 drivers almost stretch their legs a little bit. They are Doriane Pin and Luca Nurmi and Christian Brunsborg and David Gosner. We put the first lap in the book and record it for posterity because it's done as we continue on our way. And as the cars cross the timing line, we can take a look at the gaps. And already Doriane Pin, who is the lightest driver on track, has built a gap of 1.290 seconds. Such is the excitement I had to inhale in breath, Nico.
Yeah, very, very interesting start. A good start from Christian Brunsborg. Great start from David Gosner. Start under investigation. It looked a little bit like Pulcini and Gosner were not quite on the same row. So that's certainly something that race control, Claudio Garavini, our race director, will have a good look at and see if anybody was at fault. And there is Christian Brunsborg turned around.
No! So Christian Brunsborg, who was leading the Trofeo Pirelli Am race, finds himself pointing in the wrong direction. Doubtless we will get a replay of that very, very quickly to ascertain what went wrong from Christian Brunsborg. Was there a little assist from David Gosner? That is merely conjecture on our part because we didn't see it live. So we will see what happened to Christian Brunsborg, who now finds himself way, way down the order. Played into the hands nicely of David Gosner and also to Ange Bardet and Marco Pulcini. Oh, and there's problems for Christian Brunsborg. The car, as you can see, is crabbing. So damage. Let's take a look in replay then Sure enough, it was David Gosner then on the inside. And what that has done, that's broken the suspension on the Christian Brunsburg car. Look at the frustration on the Formula Racing pit wall there. You can see that. Here's a replay of the start. And honestly, Nico, David Gosner was, and not only that, Marco Pulcini, there were two of the drivers that looked to be out of formation, may I say?
Yeah, it kind of looked like Pulcini. Certainly, Gosner was ahead of Pulcini, which he, I think, based on our starting grid, shouldn't have been. Now, whether you can fault Gosner because he followed the car in front of him,
of course.
That's something race control will have a look at. But certainly, that incident that we saw through that turn, that I think is a little bit more clear cut in terms of one car making contact with the other.
Well, David just appeared to go down to the inside, didn't he? And now, it's always difficult because at that point, probably the door was left open, wasn't it? But inevitably, Christian was always going to turn in to kiss the apex of that turn. And unfortunately, as he turned, the gap that he wanted to turn into was full of the David Gosner car. So, yeah, thankfully, you and I are merely voices, and the authority is with Claudio Garavini, who has adjudged that David Gosner was at fault, and you will see it on your screen in just a couple of moments as I'm being fed the information. David Gosner is going to get a drive-through penalty. That was a very, very quick decision, and therefore it was made pretty easy, I should think. Now, bear in mind that there is confirmation of the fact that there's a drive-through penalty for car number 50. Now, it's all very well David Gosner getting a drive-through penalty, the rights of which is not for us to decide, but what it's inevitably done is ruined Christian Brunsburg's race, Nico, because he can no longer continue, and he's another driver that needs to be banking points with regards to any championship aspirations that he has.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he had a good start to the season yesterday, and unfortunately for him, not able to continue that. David Gosner, by virtue of having that drive-through penalty, will drop way down the order, and that opens Engibardi an opportunity.
Engibardi yesterday was also advantaged once again by things that were happening all around him, and Engibardi took the win in the race yesterday for Trofeo Pirelli Am. If everything stays the way it is at the moment, even though David Gosner is currently leading the Trofeo Pirelli Am, bear in mind he's got to take a drive-through penalty. What does that do? It gives a lead to Engibardi. It gives P2 to Marco Pulcini and P3 to Alessandro Cozzi as they state at the moment.
Yeah. But Pulcini was very quick yesterday, and he was very much involved in that battle with Brunsburg and Bardet. So 23 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in this race, and that's going to be a tough fight all the way until the end. And don't forget, we have track limits. We saw penalties being dished out yesterday, so
yes, we did.
Any advantage can very, very turn into a disadvantage with a 5-second penalty.
Nicolo Rossi is being pursued by Hanno Laskowski, and that is for P7 in the race overall, but within class it is for P5. So it's been decided by race control that even though the start was under investigation, there will be no further action. They're happy to accept the start the way it was. So there's us pontificating about the fact that cars seem to be out of position with regards to the start. Well, race control have looked at it and have adjudged that no one got any particular advantage from the start being perhaps not quite as clean and tidy as they would like, and therefore no further action will be taken. There is the Hanno Laskowski car then. Running around about 4/10 behind Nicolo Rossi at the moment. And as I said, that is the battle for P5 and P6, as you can see. Let's get the live gap here. Whoa! You can see that Hanno Laskowski is quicker, but he's got to find a way through. And Nicolo Rossi's a great driver. And Hanno Laskowski is going to have all his work cut out to try and pressure Nicolo Rossi into making the tiniest of errors, just so that he can try and go through. Some dust being kicked up there as if someone ran off the track, and you can see that dust continuing to swirl around the circuit as we continue to follow this fight in Trofeo Pirelli Am. Heavy, heavy braking now down into turn number 5, then the climb up to turn number 6. And we are now beginning to see just a couple of track limits warnings come. One for car number 2, which is that of Engibardi, and one for car number 7, which of course is the car of Omar Jackson, who's running in P10 at the moment. But Omar Jackson doing a very good job within class. So 21 minutes of the race remaining. And this battle then for 5th position in Trofeo Pirelli Am. And all of a sudden, Nicolo Rossi is really beginning to reel in Alessandro Cozzi. And AC there, you can see Nicolo Rossi, in my opinion, if you look at the timing screen and the data that we have available to us, Nicolo Rossi is quicker. And the reason Nicolo Rossi probably is quicker is that he's being pushed, metaphorically, by the hard-charging Hanno Laskowski behind. So this is really driving Nicolo Rossi on and pulling him into the battle, if you will, which will ensue between himself and Hanno Laskowski, and also Alessandro Cozzi. David Gostner has come in to take his drive-through penalty. I can just see from our commentary position there, and there you can see it. You can see the damage on the side of David Gostner's car, which is interesting because the damage on the back left-hand corner is quite clearly not where he made contact with Christian Brunsburg, Nico.
No, I think that was one of the skirmishes at the start, which resulted through the first few turns where he got a little bit of a laughed up, and we could see in one of the replays a bit of the panel work hanging off. Not as Hanno Laskowski takes a dive, very ambitious. Made it work.
He did make it work, and credit to Nicolo Rossi, who also left racing room for him. So Hanno Laskowski does go through on Nicolo Rossi. He'll be disappointed about that, Nicolo, because he was driving really, really well. But the pressure from Hanno Laskowski means that he goes through, and now he will put the fight on to Alessandro Cozzi, which, when it comes to Trofeo Pirelli Am, is the final podium place, because AC is currently running P3. Oh, and you can see Hanno Laskowski taking some of the AstroTurf, some of the curbs, anything he can to shortcut the corner. Just bear in mind, Hanno, that a race controller looking at every single movement, every single centimetre of tarmac. However, he is one of the drivers that actually hasn't been warned with regards to track limits, unlike car number 14 of Juan Andujar Polido, who has been warned. So this is going to turn into being something of a great battle, isn't it? Let's take a look at this overtake then. Just pulled out the slipstream, and Nicolo Rossi took a look in the rearview mirror, thought, you know what, I can't even turn in where I want to because I know that Hanno has come through. And that was very clever by Hanno, because what he did, he made sure he made the car as wide as possible to prevent Nicolo Rossi from coming back underneath the car. There is Corinna Gostner, who is sister of David Gostner. Watching on, will have seen David take the drive-through penalty, and he has returned back out on track. And actually, here is our race leader. Forgive us for not mentioning Doriane Pin, but there have been so many other things going on. But Doriane Pin leads this race by some 5.5 seconds, and I think is making an even more impressive run up the road than she did in the race yesterday. Here comes David Gostner then up against the car of Juan Andujar Polido, and David Gostner then returning from that drive-through penalty. And this is the battle for 8th position within class, so still well within points for David Gostner, even though he has... as he takes a look to the inside now, and the racing room was left, and therefore David Gostner goes through on a move that he tried to make on Christian Brunsburg, which didn't work, and therefore earned him a drive-through penalty. So there we are. It can work, but of course you've got to be in that position and be fully alongside the car before the turn, which he most certainly wasn't when it came to the Christian Brunsburg overtake potential, which turned in not to being an overtake.
Indeed. Christian Brunsburg, incidentally, has merged back from the pit, so he's going to continue, and he's doing a good race pace. Now, obviously, his goal is to bank as many points as he can from the position where he's in, being a couple of laps down. But since there is always a chance that you score points, of course, you have to think of the championship, even though you would much rather fight for the podium.
Absolutely, and you never know what's going to happen in the race. There's still 17.5 minutes as near as damn it, so a lot can happen. And certainly Alessandro Cozzi is well aware of the fact of a lot happening in terms of his rearview mirror being filled now with the Hanno Laskowski car, who is but 4/10 behind him. Well, it's a lot less than that now as we look at the cars. So around the twisty sections of this Portimão circuit then, as Hanno Laskowski, wow, he's even taken a look and showing his showing his face to the rearview mirrors even more aggressively than he did previously. So AC is well aware of the fact as they run through turn number 5. Hanno Laskowski just tries to get momentum out of the corner, but actually good driving from Alessandro Cozzi in terms of defending. He made sure the car was wide enough to prevent Hanno Laskowski being able to have a go. But there's no question about it that Laskowski's car looks to me to be quicker than AC, and therefore is it not a question of when rather than if Hanno Laskowski will try and occupy that final podium place that is available to the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers as they stand at the moment. Doriane Pin continues to extend her lead. It's up to 6.7 seconds. And in turn, Luca Nurmi, who's running 6.7 seconds behind, is himself 3 seconds ahead of the next nearest car, which is Andre Bardet in Trofeo Pirelli AM. Here comes Hanno Laskowski. Completely different line. And the reason for that is he's hoping to provoke a small mistake from Alessandro Cozzi. This is a good shot as the cars continue to run downhill before then uphill, downhill again in towards the start-finish straight, the longest straight on the track. And Alessandro Cozzi at the moment is, as we can see, Marco Pulcini there. Marco Pulcini going past the back marking car there. And here comes Hanno Laskowski. Hanno Laskowski, and now in really onto the back of, and a mistake from Alessandro Cozzi. Goodness me, what an overtake that was. Nearly, but it didn't quite happen. So, just as Hanno Laskowski thought fortune was going to favor him, AC absolutely controlled the car and kept it together, and still finds himself ahead of AC, Alessandro Cozzi. Wow, this is all going on as now you can see the returning Christian Brunsborg, who of course is trying to, as Nico indicated, what he wants to do is put himself into the points where possible. And is that possible at the moment? Absolutely not, because he's P11. So he needs to get up the road. He's got Andrew Gilbert ahead of him. And Andrew Gilbert, by running in P10 within class, is in the points. So with 14.5 minutes remaining, here comes Christian Brunsborg now to the inside of Andrew Gilbert, but thinks better of it. And now he hopes Andrew Gilbert has carried enough speed through. Now he is, of course, some huge laps behind, of course, which means he's got to do this and then do it all over again and again to be in a position where he can take those points. But he's done the first part of that, Nico, because he's got one of the 3 overtakes because of his position done. And of course, may I say that if Andrew Gilbert fell off the track now for whatever reason, that would then put him into that position, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Brunsberg basically needs someone to not finish the race.
Yes.
Not that he would like to wish that on anyone, but you know, you have to take your chances. The only thing you don't want to do is sit in the pits and then think, oh, if I'd gone out again, I would now score points.
Sure.
And you know, obviously, it's also still track time for the car. It doesn't seem damaged, so it is still going to be representative.
But what I find amazing, Nico, is after the incident, it looked like the car was kind of sideways and crabbing. So, I mean, Formula Racing have done a brilliant job, haven't they, in getting that car back out again into what would appear to be a non-disenhanced performance position.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Brunsberg really going at good speeds, even on the lap where he had to make the overtake and had to battle. I mean, really good. Maybe there was just something with the tire or the wheel.
Maybe it was punctured or slowly deflating, and that's what caused it to look like it was sliding, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. But certainly didn't look like he was slow in that battle with Gilbert. And yeah, you know, as long as you're racing, you're still racing.
Yeah, of course, you are still in it. Our 30th anniversary season then in the Ferrari Challengers. Here comes Hanno Laskowski. Now he's got to try and do it all over again in terms of getting by Alessandro Cozzi. Here he is then, and Alessandro Cozzi is doing a good job in defending here and preventing from Hanno Laskowski coming through. May I remind you, it is for the final podium place in terms of Trofeo Pirelli AM. Andre Bardet is leading this by some measure in terms of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. Marco Pulcini is P2 and AC Alessandro Cozzi is P3. So Hanno Laskowski, by running in P4, of course. The target sights ahead of him, which is that number 25 car. That's what he's trying to get. Now, car number 14 has been given a final warning with regards to exceeding track limits. That's Juan Andújar Pulido. And now, Hanno Laskowski really reels in that car of... Hanno Laskowski really reeling in that car of Alessandro Cozzi now. And here you can see who's done what and where in terms of the race. Hanno Laskowski is one of the biggest scorers in terms of moving up the order, +3 places through turn number 5 once again, with 11 and a bit minutes remaining of this race. Having worked so hard for so many laps, has Hanno Laskowski's best opportunity at getting by AC gone? Or is he going to recreate another one, because a small mistake there from AC, who runs a bit wider, allows Hanno Laskowski to get right on him now. So AC then holds on to this position, and Nicolo Rossi is just being dragged along as well. Of course, Hanno Laskowski got by Nicolo Rossi earlier on. And there you can see just how hard these drivers are driving. I mean, the pace is really good. And talking of pace, we have to give big credit to Doriane Pin, who has extended now to 8.8 seconds, the margin that she has in P1, ahead of Luca Nurmi, who's running in P2. John Boutique is P3 in terms of Trofeo Pirelli cars, but we're watching this battle in Trofeo Pirelli AM, and all of a sudden, Hanno Laskowski, I wonder whether he's taken so much out of the car and out of the tyres, Nico, that Nicolo Rossi is back into this fight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a possibility. Maybe there was just a little bit of a mistake, and the moment that Nicolo Rossi comes into play, he has to think about defending, Hanno Laskowski does, and that may all of a sudden bring Antonio Cozzi and Marco Pulcini together, because Cozzi now doesn't have to watch his rear view mirrors all the time, so he can look forward and maybe try and go for that P2 place.
You are absolutely right. So well called, as always, as Nicolo Rossi sees and tries to seize the opportunity to right the wrongs of what he considers was a wrong, with Hanno Laskowski overtaking him. So we will see. Of course, it was a perfectly fair move and a good overtake from Hanno Laskowski, but Nicolo Rossi wants that position back. And of course, what it does mean is that Alessandro Cozzi is able to rub his hands with invisible soap, because it's played nicely into his hands, because the more Hanno Laskowski has to defend against Nicolo Rossi, he's sure as heck not attacking the number 25 car ahead of him. We're into the final third of the race with just over 9 minutes remaining. Doriane Pin leading by a tad under 9 seconds over Luca Nurmi. And then in terms of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers, Ange Bardet has got a very good lead of very nearly 4 seconds over Marco Pulcini. So this fight for the 5th position now is a fight that resumes. Earlier on, round 1, I'm tempted to say, it was Hanno Laskowski that got the better of Nicolo Rossi. But now into the final third of this race, I really rather think that Nicolo Rossi is coming back into this fight. He is, Nicolo is a very smooth driver. He doesn't, he runs right out wide. Was that a commentator's curse or what? It was smooth. It wasn't aggressive, but, you know, he is a very smooth driver. And I just wonder whether him being a little less aggressive means that he's got a little bit more underneath him than maybe Hanno Laskowski has.
Yeah, I think you called it right previously. I mean, Laskowski really put a lot of pressure onto his tires by trying to get on terms with AC, while Nicolo Rossi just really followed, and the battle slowed the cars in front of him down, which brought them back to him without him having to fight too much and go off his racing line, and that means his tires should be in a better position. I think you can see with little Laskowski car, it gets a little bit skittish at times.
I have to say, having spoken to many drivers across a less than glittering career, mine I'm talking about, rather than the racing drivers, is that a number of drivers say that sometimes it is better to let someone by if they're trying so very hard, and then try and hang on to their coattails, because it almost propels you along, as Nicolo Rossi is proving almost exactly that point now. Because he's allowed Hanno Laskowski to do a lot of fighting earlier on by letting him by, and I'm sure he didn't let him by, but maybe, just maybe, Nicolo Rossi is now in a better position than Hanno Laskowski, and he is going to win that P4 position back. Well, within 7 minutes' time, we are going to find out. Now, Hanno Laskowski, dare I say it now, realizes that his car is not perhaps giving him the grip underneath that he would like because of how aggressive he's been in the early stages of this race, and whether he's sticking his elbows out in defense a little bit now and making the car a little bit wider than perhaps it is. Right, the returning David Gosner from his drive-through penalty faces Omar Jackson now, who is running in P7. So David Gosner is still well within the points, but Omar Jackson is going to bank more points than David Gosner if it stays this way, as David Gosner takes a long, long way around the outside and certainly exceeded the track limits, but it was perhaps the overtake of the day, because, boy, you've got to be brave to do that on the Astro, and David did it. Now, it'll be very, very interesting to see whether a message pops up to say car number 50 exceeded the track limits at turn 1. We've already seen one for turn 4, not turn 1, I beg your pardon, for the 15th turn, because he just drove all the way around Omar. That was a brilliant overtake. Here it is. Sadly, it's just after the overtake. But, I mean, honestly, Nico, he just... I'm coming through, come what may. If you put me on the Astro, you put me, and I don't think Omar was in any way defensive over that. David was just looking for a way round and decided that the way round Omar Jackson was off the track.
Yeah, I mean, Omar may feel, well, you know, there is a wide line, and if you are completely across the wide line, you shouldn't be able to overtake me. Now, again, that's what race control is there for. They will have a look at that, and as we have a look at the Arnold Dahlmeier car, P6, that would be the next car in the target side of David Gosner. Granted, there is about 8 seconds between the two cars, and with 5 minutes remaining in the race, both he and Doriane Pin, who we see now, should be pretty comfortable in their positions.
The David Gosner move reminds me a little of a former protagonist in the Ferrari Challenge called Dario Carso, who would, just when you think there's an unorthodox line that no one is going to take, Dario was exactly the sort of driver that would do that and provided some great entertainment for us. There is our race leader, Doriane Pin, then, some 9.5 seconds to the good. And Doriane is putting on a little bit of a slideshow for us as the back end of the car stepped out. That's nice, loving it. Opposite lock. Bring it on, Doriane Pin. 9.5 seconds over Luca Nurmi. So whatever aspirations Luca had right at the start of the race, I mean, the pace that Doriane Pin has is remarkable. Here comes Ange Bardet then, who actually this weekend, like Doriane Pin, could make it 2 out of 2. He's just 4 minutes away from the checkered flag being flown. And it will be a very, very good weekend for Ange Bardet if he can seal the deal. And in fairness, Nico, he's so far ahead of Marco Pulcini. Barring any disaster, I would think he's in a very, very strong position here.
Yeah, 6.6 seconds to the good of Marco Pulcini. So, again, as you say, a deflating tire or anything, you know...
Yeah.
You can always, something can always go wrong as long as you haven't crossed the finish line.
Oh, no. We didn't want to see that, as Hanno Laskowski now is going to have a job coming because he's got to climb uphill on the grass now. Oh, dear. That was a shame. And I'd like to see a replay of that because I didn't think Nicolo was close enough to be able to actually make contact. He was. I'm being told by my learned friend alongside. Well, that is a shame, because they'd had such a brilliant fight between them, and that's very, very unfortunate for Hanno Laskowski.
Yeah, and I mean, let's see what race control decides about that. It's sometimes really...
Sorry, I'm not laughing about that incident. I'm laughing about the fact that it's just flashed up on our message screen that car number 50 is under investigation for overtaking by exceeding the track limits, which is exactly what we were talking about just a few moments ago. Oh, come on, to heck with it. I mean, that was for entertainment value. Let him off that one, please.
Well, for Nicolo Rossi, it's unfortunate because sometimes you're just running behind the other car and maybe that car slides a little bit, slows down, and then you make that little bit of a contact and the car is so light because it's unsettled and, you know, it spins around very quickly. Now, you can always argue you have to control your own car, but
yeah,
there is certainly nothing intentional or malicious.
No, Nicolo is... Do you know what? I'm not convinced, Nico. I'd like to see it all over again, really. Nicola Rossi is absolutely not a driver that you know, tries to use the bumper. Not that I'm suggesting any of them do. But I'm not convinced there was contact there. We'll see. We're on board with Doriane Pin, who, again, it's been a masterclass in how to drive a 488 challenge. David Gosner, sorry, has interrupted my train of thought. David Gosner is going to pick up a 5-second time penalty for his overtake outside the track limits. We're on the final lap. David Gosner, I have to say, I salute you for giving us the overtake of the day. It may have been illegal, but I just think it was brilliant. Here is Doriane Pin then. I go back to my original point that I was trying to make before I was disturbed by the time penalty being awarded to David Gosner. Doriane Pin, Nico, has delivered once again a masterclass of how to drive a 488 Challenge Evo car around this undulating 4.69 2-kilometer Portimão circuit. It has been a work of art.
Definitely. The Scuderia Nicky Iron Links team deserves a lot of credit, but Doriane Pin does too for pedaling the car at this speed and so consistently. I mean, just perfect, just a perfect weekend and a great start to the season.
Very much so. I mean, you couldn't. Well, you're banking the maximum out of the season start, aren't you? The first round. It can't be better than that. So Doriane Pin from Luca Nurmi from John Vortique for the Pirelli drivers. For Pirelli Am, it's Ange Bardet for Marco Pulcini. Then it is Alessandro Cozzi ahead of Nicola Rossi. And if I dare say this, and I don't wish to be the prophet of doom here, there's been nothing on our message board with regards to Nicola Rossi and Hanno Luskovski. So I'm not convinced there was contact there. I'm not convinced, but I remain to be put right and corrected, as I so often am. So what has Doriane Pin got to do to win this race? Well, basically, navigate the car through this final turn and with a margin of very nearly 11 seconds, head towards the checkered flag and win. It's 2 out of 2 for Pin at Portimão. Well done, Doriane. A brilliant drive. And we await Luca Nurmi, who crosses the line to take P2. Now, the car that hopefully will take the victory for Trofeo Pirelli Am succeeds and secures Ange Bardet, another driver that makes it 2 out of 2. And there you can see the pit crew very happy with Ange's performance. Marco Pulcini takes P2 for the Am drivers. There's excitement all the way along the pit wall. And Alessandro Cozzi, AC, takes P3. Whew. What a race, Nico. There was something going on almost every single turn. Somewhere, somehow, something was happening.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Doriane Pin, she had once again a very quiet race. And like yesterday, she will ask, well, what happened behind me? And the answer is everything.
Quite a lot. Do you know, she finished when she crossed the timing line. The margin, I think, today is bigger than yesterday, as she finished 11 seconds up the road. You think it not so? And there's Ange Bardet. Look, he's so hot, he's opened the door. For SF Côte d'Azur Cayenne, well done to Ange Bardet for taking the Trofeo Pirelli Am victory. Doriane Pin taking the Trofeo Pirelli victory. Good race with an awful lot going on there. So Pin, Nurmi, you just love it when someone always proves you wrong. I think Doriane was it just under 20 seconds up the road yesterday? So my failing memory almost matches the increase in my age, doesn't it? Doriane Pin, Luca Nurmi, then P1 and P2. Then we saw Ange Bardet, Marco Pulcini and Alessandro Cozzi ahead of Nicola Rossi, Arno Dahlmeier, David Gosner, Omar Jackson, Juan Andujar Polido for the Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers, rounding out the top 10 as they finished on track. This, of course, is not necessarily within class. It is overall, the overall result. Ahead of Hanno Luskovski, Andrew Gilbert, John Vortique and Christian Brunsborg, who finishes P14, and Christian Brunsborg finishing P11 within class.
However, he managed to get the fastest lap in the Am, so he did get a point out of this. So, you know, it's always worth fighting, and that, who knows, in a couple of months' time, who knows who will that point make a difference?
Look at the difference between Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli Am, which is partly down to the numbers of cars. 7 overtakes in Trofeo Pirelli, 40 in Trofeo Pirelli Am. Here is Doriane Pin then, who will not even have a bead of sweat across the brow because is so young, so fit, so thin. Dare I say it, unlike Ange Bardet, who I think may be perspiring just a little bit, because considerable difference in age, it has to be said. And there is Doriane then for Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx. Your pace was incredible. We heard that from the engineers then. Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx, which is the team which is headed up by Deborah Mayer, as Manuela Gosner there was making the congratulations. There is Ange Bardet then. Come on, Ange, get the crash helmet off, because I did say that you might have a bead of sweat across your forehead. I hope that is the case, but 2 out of 2 for Ange then. That's going to put him in the lead of the Trofeo Pirelli Ams, as Manu Gosner then offers congratulations to Doriane Pin. Manuela Gosner, of course, very much part of the Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx Iron Dames team in other categories. And lots and lots of congratulations all round as the cars line up in that Parc Ferme area then. And we are going to enjoy the pit show now, live from Portimão.
Of words to describe what Doriane has achieved this weekend. Unstoppable every session. How did you do it, and how are you feeling about it?
It's amazing. I work every day hard, really hard, to achieve a great result like this. So with a strong team, we work really a lot during all the weekend, and we achieved this result until the end, and I'm super happy. It's completely amazing.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank
a perfect weekend for you.
So Doriane Pin all smiles then, having taken 2 out of 2 this weekend. As we can see, Alessandro Cozzi there to the right-hand side of your picture, celebrating, of course, that victory. Ange Bardet, another hugely successful driver, as this weekend he makes it 2 out of 2 by taking the victory in Trofeo Pirelli Am. We'll hear from him now.
And also a perfect weekend for Ange Bardet, leaving with 2 wins under his belt. This was a brilliant run for you in race 2. How did it feel for you?
Yes, it's amazing, because I'm not sure in the winter I'm not sure I come back in a Ferrari challenge for this year. I'm happy to win 2 races. The race is very hard because there is a lot of contact. I don't know why the guy in the first lap he want to pass, and he break the car. So at the end I win the race, so I'm really happy.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Great job.
Ange Bardet then, as he said, he was undecided over the winter period whether, you know, because he had a good season last year, but he was undecided whether to come back this season. Thankfully he did. Let's take a look at some of the highlights now. So some of the highlights as we see a family discussion going on between David Gosner in the middle of the picture. Left-hand side is Thomas Gosner, father, and right-hand side is Corinna Gosner, sister and daughter. So, of course, we will be heading up to the podium where we will be seeing the top three Trofeo Pirelli drivers and the top three Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. And Michele Mambelli is our
and now we are ready
circuit commentator, and he will bring us our podium ceremony right now.
Third on the podium, John Vatic. Second place from Finland, Luca Nurmi. And the winner is from France, Doriane Pin. Team Scuderia Niki Iron Links on the podium. Thank you. And now national anthem. Claps, our claps for this winner trophy. The winner trophy are presented by Giancarlo Fisichella, official driver Ferrari GT. The trophy for John Vatic, third on the podium. The trophy for the second driver on the podium, Luca Nurmi. And the winner trophy, Giancarlo Fisichella gives to Doriane Pin. The trophy for teams, Giancarlo, trophy for teams for Scuderia Niki Iron Links, Giancarlo Fisichella. And Mr. Lucio Vergani, Pirelli Competizioni, for Doriane Pin, Pirelli Trophy. And now please, together on the first step of this podium, and rise your trophy, up your trophy, rise your trophy. Okay?
So there we have it then, trophy is duly risen, and here we can see super slow-mo then of the top three. John Vatic, well, it was a lowly P3, he'll be hoping to be back at his best when it comes to the next round for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, which is in the middle of May in Paul Ricard. P2, and it's two P2s across the weekend for this young man then for Formula Racing. The number 66 car and driver combo is Luca Nurmi. Utterly faultless all weekend. Doriane Pin for Scuderia Niki Iron Links. So the top three cars then. Of course, we still have Trofeo Pirelli AM podium to come. But meantime, let's give you the official championship points then as they stand now. Doriane Pin goes into the next round a full 10 points ahead of Luca Nurmi, who banks 25 from this weekend. And John Vatic is 14 down on 21 points. So the way that the points are scored within the Ferrari Challenge means that John Vatic needs to be back to his best when it comes to the next round at Paul Ricard. Here comes Alessandro Cozzi then, first driver to appear on the podium for Trofeo Pirelli AM.
This weekend from Italy, Marco Pulcini. And now the four-time champion, winner Ajabad. And Team SF Côte d'Azur Cannes, national anthem. Il nostro applauso per i vincitori. I trofei sono presentati da Giancarlo Fisichella, pilota ufficiale GT. The trophy are presented by Giancarlo Fisichella, pilota ufficiale Ferrari. Alessandro Cozzi, trofeo per il secondo classificato. Marco Pulcini. E il trofeo d'onore per Ange Bard, Giancarlo Fisichella. Il trofeo per il team SF Côte d'Azur, Cannes. E adesso tutti sul gradino più alto del podio, all together now on the first step of this podium. Pirelli Trophy, excuse me, Pirelli Trophy, Lucio Vergani, Pirelli Trophy. Lucio, sul podio anche tu. All together.
So everyone getting together then on the podium for the photographs. Here comes the top three cars then that propelled their drivers to those podium positions. Alessandro Cozzi for Formula Racing then taking P3 in Trofeo Pirelli Am. Great drive from Marco Pulcini then for Altea Motors in Trofeo Pirelli Am. He takes P2. And a perfect weekend once again for SF Côte d'Azur team and their driver, Ange Bard. And there we have it then, as we see the Drivers' Championship points for the Trofeo Pirelli Am class. 32 points for Ange Bard, Marco Pulcini on 26. Then it's Alessandro Cozzi and Christian Brunsborg. So all to play for, of course, because we'll be heading into the next round of the Ferrari Challenge in the middle of May when we head down to the south of France and the Paul Ricard circuit. So not long to wait before the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli cars are back out in action again and delivering some great racing for us. Let's take a look at some of the emotions from Portimão now. So for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli here from Portimão as we get the season 2022, our 30th anniversary season underway. Bye-bye for now.